The COVID-19 pandemic is everyone's concern. We therefore encourage you to take the necessary precautions to protect yourselves and families. These include wearing a face mask and practicing social distancing while in public. You should also wash or sanitize your hands frequently. Welcome to InfoHub for Thursday, August 27. Thank you for joining us as we continue to highlight the work of the PPPC government aimed at improving the quality of life of all Guyanese. His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali today announced key appointments to Guyana's local content panel, which is expected to conduct expansive consultation and review and devise recommendations that will inform the country's local content policy. While the head of state acknowledged that there is much to be done in terms of capacity building among local stakeholders, he believes that with the right mix, which includes technology transfer and partnership between experienced companies and the local private sector, a sustainable and lucrative pathway can be achieved for Guyanese within the local content policy. Mr. Sham Nokta will serve as chairman of the advisory panel. Other members are Mr. Carl B. Greenidge, Mr. Floyd Haynes, Mr. Kevin Ramnarine, Dr. Anthony Paul, and Mr. Carville Duncan. The government has continuously assured that it will approach the development of the oil and gas sector in a non-partisan manner. The recent appointments are part of the government's drive to fulfill its manifesto promises as it relates to securing the benefits of oil and gas for all Guyanese. The critical areas which are central to the overall strategy in the oil and gas sector are a framework for proper management of resources, transparency and accountability, and securing benefits for Guyanese. The congratulatory messages to His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, continue to pour in. The Guyanese leader has received a congratulatory letter from President of the Dominican Republic, His Excellency Luis Corona, who expressed his desire to deepen ties with Guyana. In his letter, the President extended best wishes to the People's Progressive Party and the nation for the peaceful transition, which consolidates the democratic system of your country. Further, President Corona said his government looks forward to working with Guyana in the common challenges that our Caribbean region currently faces. We look forward to strengthening ties of friendship and cooperation for the benefit of our nations. Attorney at Law Manoj Narayan was today sworn in as Commissioner representing the People's Progressive Party Civic on the Guyana Elections Commission, while former Minister Mr. Ganga Prasad was sworn in as member of the Public Service Commission. They both took the oath of office before His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana.
Both Narayan and Prasad received their letters of appointment on Thursday morning during a swearing-in hosted at State House. Narayan replaces the previous commissioner, Mr. Robson Ben, who has been appointed as Minister of Home Affairs. Narayan, speaking on the sidelines of the event, noted that persons who were a part of the group which tried to rig the March 2 general and regional elections must be held accountable.
Well, of course, the Commission needs to make those decisions. The Commission has wide powers. Under Article 161A of the Constitution, the Commission is empowered to institute disciplinary proceedings against officers of the Elections Commission. And the officers are electoral officers and deputy returning officers. They are listed and contained in the provisions of the Representation of the People's Act. So those matters will have to be discussed at the level of the Commission.
Meanwhile, former Minister of Local Government, Mr. Ganga Prasad's appointment to the Public Service Commission follows the resignation of former Magistrate Gita Chandan Edmond in January this year.
I am joining a team that is already there, short in numbers, and so I will try to make up with that. My commitment is reflected in the oath that I just took and listening to the words of advice coming from His Excellency. And so I am known to be a team player, but not necessarily a team follower. And I can assure you that the interests of every public servant within Guyana's public service would be my focus, and I will do so working with the team in keeping with the public service rules, the Public Service Commission rules, and the Constitution of Guyana.
President Ali remarked that the appointments came at a critical time when several issues at both entities have to be addressed. The head of state noted that there are issues of vacancies in the public sector which need to be occupied, and the replacements were essential to have a situation where the work of PSC could proceed and flow smoothly.
Mr. Prasad is no stranger to the public service. He has experience as a public servant. He has served on the commission before. He's a former minister and also a former permanent secretary. I have no doubt that he will execute his mandate in a manner that is befitting of the office and that he will be an asset to the commission. Today, with the appointment of Mr. Manoj on the commission, I'm sure that it will help you and the commission to advance your work as you seek not only to address the many issues that are before you in relation to the concluded elections, but more importantly, as we work towards strengthening of the electoral system, as we work towards having an electoral system in which the people of our country can have confidence in it, and one in which the international community can be comfortable that Guyana has strong democratic institutions that will always act in the best interests of democracy and the people of our country.
Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Honorable Anil Nandlal and Chairwoman of the Guyana Elections Commission, Justice Retired Claudette Singh, were also present at the ceremony. Minister Nandlal said he was pleased to see two important constitutional posts filled.
The government will continue to ensure that constitutional vacancies in the various sectors are filled so that there are no hiatus in the performance of constitutional functions, because constitutional functions are integral to the working of our democracy.
Thursday's swearing-in was done in accordance with the authority conferred upon the President by Article 161(3)(a) of the Constitution. Reporting for InfoHub, I am Kellon Rover.
Since coming into office, the PPPC government ministers have been busy on the ground listening to and addressing the concerns of residents and stakeholders, in many instances providing immediate solutions. Yesterday, Minister of Housing and Water, the Honorable Colin Crowell, met with West Berbice residents to address their concerns. During his visit, Minister Crowell explained that while the PPPC government inherited a flawed system from the previous coalition administration, they are working assiduously to provide immediate relief.
Addressing the water woes in the communities, Minister Crowell shared that very soon, the Guyana Water Incorporated will be under new management to ensure safer and reliable water is provided across the country. Minister Crowell also spoke on the high water bills and the returning of subsidies for pensioners.
Pensioners, your government committed two things. One, we spoke about the removal of VAT on water. And secondly, in our manifesto commitment, we spoke about subsidies for pensioners for water. And so that is something we intend to deliver on. Our intention is to keep our commitment to provide relief to our pensioners, because we believe the pensioners are people who have toiled this land, people who have laid the foundation for all of us, the younger generation. So the most we can do, we can owe it to them, is to see whatever the resources, the state resources can accommodate, to provide some sort of relief measures for our older folk.
The Housing and Water Minister informed the residents that the People's Progressive Party Civic Administration is in the process of finalizing an emergency budget to address some of their challenges. He shared the government's commitment to ensuring that the area where house lots are being allocated have the necessary infrastructure and amenities already in place.
In terms of land in general, house lots allocation, we'll have to wait a little. The ministry in itself does not have right now any land developed. You may find land, but the land has not been developed for allocation of house lots. And so immediately that is what is engaging our attention starting on this year from after the budget presentation and the 2021 to develop in every single region areas for house lots allocation so that we can fast track your government's commitment of delivering the minimum 50,000 house lots within this first period of our government.
For InfoHub, Gavin Lewis.
Meanwhile, farmers residing in the Essequibo Islands West Demerara region were assured that under the PPPC government, their livelihoods will be improved and the current dilapidated and unsatisfactory infrastructure will be a thing of the past. This assurance was given by Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Zulfikar Mustafa, during his visit to the region.
This was disclosed by Minister of Agriculture Honorable Zulfikar Mustafa when he led his technical team to several communities in Region 3 on Wednesday. Canal numbers 1 and 2 were among the communities visited and inspected by the team. The need for proper drainage and irrigation of several canals was brought to the attention of the minister, as well as the lack of water to farmlands. One resident spoke of the terrible infrastructure on the main thoroughfare, which provides access to farms. While some of the burning issues highlighted could not have been addressed immediately given their magnitude, there were others which received immediate intervention by the minister. Minister Mustafa said government is committed to accomplishing every plan stated in its manifesto.
In the agriculture sector, we have to ensure that our farmers get the kind of infrastructural work and support that are needed so that they can ensure that they produce. First of all, the agriculture sector is one of the most important sectors in our country. We can have all the oil, we can have all the gold, all the bauxite and everything, but remember, those things we are taking out. We are taking out the oil, we are taking out the gold, and we are exporting those things. But agriculture is here to stay. Agriculture, because of agriculture, many of our foreparents came to Guyana. So we have to maintain that. And as long as the agriculture sector is thriving, then we can have food security in our country.
He relayed, too, that the extension services at the Ministry of Agriculture will see major improvement.
When I went and took over the ministry, you found, what I found, that there was a lack of leadership. The direction that the ministry had no direction. So now we have to focus our attention on certain objectives. And those objectives are to ensure that we have maximum production.
The minister reminded that until there is a budget in place, some issues will be addressed. He said a proposal was submitted to the Finance Ministry in preparation for an emergency budget. In the meantime, the agriculture sector plans to stretch its resources to make life better for farmers. For InfoHub, I am Kellon Rover.
Also on Wednesday, Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, the Honorable Nigel Dharamlal, attended meetings held by two of the neighborhood democratic councils in Region 3, Hydroni Good Hope and Mora Parika, to reinforce the government's approach to development at the local level.
The government has a different modus operandi of working. The President has indicated from the first day he took office that his government will be responsive to every issue and every concern of every citizen in this country. And my job as the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development is to ensure that every issue that affect every citizen gets to the attention of the government.
That was the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, Honorable Nigel Dharamlal, reminding the Region 3 residents of the People's Progressive Party civic government's commitment to ensuring betterment for all Guyanese. Minister Dharamlal noted the importance of everyone performing their roles effectively to ensure the development of their communities.
Every NDC must be a place, a safe space, where residents of the different villages that comprise the NDC can come here and raise issues, make complaints, make concerns known to us, even make observations about what is happening, so that on a daily basis, we are able to know what these issues are, so we can respond to them. When the president makes decisions, he would like to know that the citizens are the ones who he is making those decisions on behalf of. So the ministry now will not be making decisions and impose it upon any citizen. But citizens have to be consulted on every decision that we make.
The People's Progressive Party civic government has a new systematic approach, which will see the ministry working along with the local democratic organs in an effort to improve livelihood in the communities.
Every village must get support from every program of the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. And they must get support from every agency of the government of Guyana. We are not a government for one set of people or a certain group of people. We are a government for the people of Guyana.
For InfoHub, Gavin Lewis.
Let's tell you now that the 12th Parliament is set for opening in a new week with sittings to be held at the Arthur Chung Conference Center. President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, will address the new Parliament, following the swearing-in of the new members and the selection of a Speaker of the House. The presentation of the national budget is also set for the new week. Strict COVID-19 guidelines will be in effect. More news after the short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Turning our attention to the health sector, PAHO WHO representative to Guyana, Dr. William Adukro, has supported the Ministry of Health in dispelling the rumors of contaminated test kits being used in Guyana to test for COVID-19.
Dr. William Adukro said that PAHO WHO ensures test kits meet all the necessary standards before being dispatched to countries for use.
I can assure you, and also by extension the public, that the tests that is being done in Guyana are secure, safe, and quality assured. So that if you get a positive, it's a true positive. All the testing kits that we have, they go through a quality assurance first, and then go through PAHO. It comes here, they are monitored, temperature sensitive monitoring. So by the time we get them, we know they are in good stead.
To ensure the accuracy of test results, PAHO WHO has advised the government that after every 50 tests, that the 50th sample should be sent to a laboratory outside of Guyana to be reprocessed. This is to verify the initial result produced locally and to ensure there is a match. Meanwhile, Dr. Adukro addressed the notion some persons may have that being retested at a private health institution will produce a different result.
When you test at government and it's positive, it's a PCR test. It's a molecular test that is about 99% accurate. Now, if you go and test in private and you go and test with an antibody antigen test, that is not as sensitive as a PCR. And that's why government is sticking to the PCR. And that's why WHO has not pre-approved any of the antibody antigen tests as yet.
Minister of Health, the Honorable Dr. Frank Anthony, has repeatedly urged persons to go out and get tested and not let the rumors circulating be a deterrent. Since widespread testing has been increased, the number of positive cases being identified is a true reflection of the COVID-19 situation in the country. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health, through its Health Emergency Operations Center, has registered a series of prank calls being made to the COVID-19 hotline numbers. The Minister of Health, the Honorable Dr. Frank Anthony, is appealing to members of the public to stop making prank calls to the COVID-19 hotlines. Members of the public are reminded that paragraph 16 of the COVID-19 emergency measures states that persons shall not call a COVID-19 hotline number without a justifiable reason. Persons found guilty of making prank calls to the COVID-19 hotlines will be penalized. The Minister of Health wishes to remind the general public of the importance of the COVID-19 hotlines to the nation's efforts to prevent and manage the spread of COVID-19. The COVID-19 hotlines are used to receive information that allows for the provision of healthcare services to persons possibly affected by the virus. Prank calls disrupt the communication process between persons who are legitimately in need of a vital service and our healthcare providers. Such an outcome has negative consequences for persons in need of care. The ministry is calling on all Guyanese to work together to effectively stop the spread of COVID-19 in Guyana. Those guilty of making these prank calls are being called on to stop abusing the hotline system and disrupting a life-saving mechanism. Representatives from international organizations and members of the diplomatic corps continue to meet with the new ministers of government as they seek to strengthen ties and deepen relations in all sectors. Yesterday, the High Commission of India to Guyana, His Excellency Dr. K.J. Srinivasa, paid a courtesy call on Minister of Education, the Honorable Priya Manikchand, at her Brigdam office, where he congratulated her on the appointment as Minister of Education and discussed how the two countries can further bilateral relations. Also on Wednesday, Minister of Human Services and Social Security, the Honorable Dr. Vindhya Prasad, hosted a virtual meeting with personnel from the Ministry, the Canadian High Commission, United Nations Development Programme, and the Office of Climate Change to discuss a number of actionable projects such as food support for the most vulnerable, including the homeless and women affected by violence. The collaborative support program will be rolled out shortly and is expected to assist hundreds of persons. Additionally, the Canadian representatives disclosed that Guyana was one of 9 Caribbean countries identified to benefit from one of its government's projects, enabling gender-responsive disaster recovery, climate, and environmental resilience in the Caribbean, Engender, which provides funding in tackling gender-based violence and COVID-19. Minister Prasad expressed her appreciation for the support offered to the ministry in the areas of gender-based violence, gender policy, assessment, and development. Remember to do your part to ensure you do not put yourself at risk during this time. If you have a cough, fever, and difficulty breathing, seek medical care early, but call the hotline first. That's all for today. Connect with us on all our social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and visit our website, dpi.gov.gy, as we bring you the latest and important news on what the government is doing to ensure the continued development of our country. Your Bridge reports are up next. Goodbye for now.